In the serene beauty of Hawaii, amidst the sun-kissed beaches and azure waters, the lives of two sisters, Alexandria and Anastasia Duval, took a dramatic turn that would captivate the attention of the nation. Their story is one of sibling bonds, conflict, and a tragic event that would leave an indelible mark on the island paradise. The Duval sisters, known for their closeness and shared dreams, seem to embody the carefree spirit of the islands. However, beneath the surface of their seemingly idyllic life, a complex relationship would unravel, leading to an unimaginable incident that shook the Hawaiian community. The twins Alexandria and Anastasia were formerly known as Allison and Ann Duval. They were identical twins born in Utica, New York in 1978. Allison was known to be outspoken and charming, while her twin sister Ann was more private and quiet. When they were 5 years old, their mother Maureen passed away. This left them and their older sister under the care of their father, Dr. John Duval. Their father would give them anything they wanted and let them do anything they desired as a way to make up for the girls' loss of their mother and the fact that he was rarely ever at home due to his long hours at work. The girls never had a lot of friends since they preferred to stay quiet and unnoticed, and they rarely even dated. All they needed was each other. It was stated by several classmates and people who knew them that they were very close, to the point where they would even take showers together. They had much love for each other, but on the other hand, had a lot of room to hate each other as well. People said they would argue and quarrel like an old married couple. As soon as one of them started talking to someone else, the other one would get mad and yell at them to stop. They didn't want to share each other's attention. The twins always had lots of money on them from their father, and would party and drink a lot, and would end up fighting. Their fights would get so brutal that they'd end up hitting each other and pulling one another's hair. It was stated that these girls' character would change for the worse whenever they were drinking. Their relationship was totally a love and hate relationship. It was obvious that they secretly envied each other and at all times wanted to be the superior twin. Even though they were in high school at the time, their problems with alcohol became critical, which grew only terrible as they grew older. After completing high school, the family relocated to Florida from New York, and the twins ended up attending college in St. Petersburg and Tampa. They wanted to do everything together, so they never had different ambitions in life, and even they wanted to share the same career. That's why both moved to the Palm Beach area so that they could open up their twin power studio. In 2008, they opened the first location, which was in Palm Beach Gardens, and their second location was opened 3 years later, which was in downtown West Palm Beach. They intended to have a third location in Boca Raton, but it never happened. The twins were doing well, and their business seemed to be prospering. They drove luxurious cars and expensive shopping sprees, and were just living it up in riches. They were famous, treasured, and trusted. After a period of living it up in the starlight, Alexandria and Anastasia ended up betraying the trust of their employees and customers after they closed down the studio without any notice, without even paying their employees, and without refunding their customers. This came about because the twins couldn't just pay for their business anymore. They rented a new apartment which was too expensive for them, and after a plan with a reality TV show that maintained they'd help the girls keep their luxurious lifestyle failed, they ended up shutting down both of their studios in Florida and moved them to Utah. The girls opened another yoga studio in a lavish ski resort located in Park City, Utah. In this studio, they offered various types of yoga disciplines, together with doga, which was yoga for dogs. Nevertheless, their time in Utah was brief because of legal trouble from many instances of alcohol-related charges and also having to file for bankruptcy. Allison had many arrests for driving without insurance, driving under influence, public intoxication, disorderly conduct, and fleeing the scene of an accident. Ann was arrested for public intoxication, disorderly conduct, assault on a police officer, and also interfering with arrest. Between both of them, their credit card was over $200,000. In 2016, the twins moved again to Hawaii, where they officially changed their names to write a book. Allison changed her name to Alexandria, and Ann changed hers to Anastasia, and their last name remained Duval. They had found somewhere to live in Maui and began their lives there like they had everywhere else. A lot of drinking, and this time round each of them had a steady boyfriend and lived with them in a big rental house in Maui. On 29th, 2016, a fight turned ugly and deadly after a night of drinking. Just a few towns on a very dangerous road, on the edge of a cliff, the twins were witnessed by many people fighting in the car, hitting each other and pulling at each other's hair. Some said they were driving the whole time while fighting, while others said that they were initially parked. However, Alexandria was seen speeding off while Anastasia was pulling her hair. The sisters were seen arguing on a narrow, winding Hana highway on the island of Maui before their SUV plunged 200 feet over a cliff. Anastasia died at the scene, while Alexandria survived the accident but was seriously injured. Anastasia was found holding a chunk of her sister's hair in her hand, which would be used later in court as evidence. Many claimed that this was an act of murder-suicide, while on the other hand others claimed this was purely an accident. Anastasia's boyfriend, Federico Bailey, told the press that on the fateful day, he and his girlfriend were going on a couple's camping trip, which Alexandria insisted on joining them, which triggered a heated fight between both girls. It was usual for the sisters to accompany each other on their dates, but this time round, Anastasia didn't want the company. They took Federico's car and drove, and when they returned, they appeared to be in a much better mode. However, Federico became upset when he noticed they bought alcohol, so he went to take a walk to cool himself off, and when he came back, he found out that the twins had left again. He could not stand when the twins drank. He said, "They were great people when they were sober, but the minute they started drinking, they were like Jekyll and Hyde." Federico also said that he wasn't surprised about what happened, since he had overheard the sisters saying some weeks earlier that they were going to kill each other, and also saying that they wouldn't be alive much longer. After the crash, Alexandria said she just remembered being airlifted and that she didn't learn of Anastasia's death until she was in hospital. Alexandria also spoke out about her close relationship with her sister and the pain of losing their mother when they were only 5 years old. "We had so much love for each other because of what we experienced at such a tender age of 5, she said. Alexandria was arrested for the suspicion that she intentionally drove off the cliff to kill herself and her sister. However, a judge later ordered her release after determining that there was no probable cause for a murder charge. She moved to upstate New York. Nevertheless, a few months later after moving to New York, she was apprehended again after a jury indicted her. At the trial, it was claimed in court that Alexandria had dressed up in her dead sister's clothes and flirted with her boyfriend shortly after the fatal crash. Anastasia's boyfriend Federico testified in court on the second day of the murder trial, exposing details of Alexandria's behavior in the days after the crash. According to the New York Post, Federico Bailey said, "She began cuddling up on me. It seemed like she was flirting with me. She sat down beside me close and lay her head on my shoulder." He went on to say, "When I saw her in Anastasia's dress, it was disturbing. Anastasia had just worn that dress a few nights earlier." Federico, who had been living with the twins, told the court that he was on a camping trip with the sisters at the time. He further told the court that the twins started arguing after Alexandria showed up unexpectedly on their trip. Witnesses also recounted seeing the sisters fighting and pulling each other's hair as they drove on the highway. Joseph Toliafoa, 17, said he saw the SUV stopped in the middle of the road with its hazard lights on. He further said, "First they were arguing and it escalated." He said he saw a lot of gestures, like they were going at it and hair pulling and punching. Toliafoa told the court that he heard the engine of the SUV before it speed up, and then it jerked to the left before plunging over the cliff. Maui resident Chad Smith also testified that while the twins were passing him on the highway, he could see them arguing. Smith, who was headed to church, said he couldn't hear anything, but the twins looked angry. He further said that he had to swerve out of their way. Maui County Prosecuting Attorney J.D. Kim said after the verdict that, "I'm disappointed. The facts clearly show it was at least reckless behavior." The defense used the fact that Alexandria and Anastasia loved each other so deeply, and they had a very close relationship even with the toxic fights that they had, and had no reason to even want to kill each other. They're twins, and losing their twin would be completely overwhelming. Now, to heighten things, you're accusing Alexandria of the murder of that twin. He also stated that it was purely an accident because of the alcohol in their system, and the physical fighting and hair-pulling distracted Alexandria from the road. Anastasia had pulled on Alexandria's hair so hard that it ripped out of her skull, hence why a chunk of hair was seen in Anastasia's hand at the scene. The judge further said that the chunk of hair in Anastasia's hand was the most convincing form of evidence that was shown. In the end, the grand jury said that Alexandria was not guilty of her sister's death and walked scot-free. Nevertheless, some people were doubtful if this was purely an accident. Some believed it was a murder-suicide mission and were upset by the judgment as the evidence clearly showed at least some careless behavior and believed Alexandria should have been confined in prison. The Duval sisters' story serves as a somber reminder of the fragility of relationships and the consequences of unresolved conflicts. May their memory inspire us to cherish our loved ones, nurture healthy connections, and seek help when faced with challenges. If you found this video compelling, leave a like, and your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe and check out our other videos.